Stan Gibilisco here with a little view of a barred spiral galaxy just for your edification and enlightenment and entertainment. You can get images like this. This is my computer wallpaper. You can get an image like this from Great Images in NASA. They offer downloadable high-resolution pictures from the Hubble telescope and other devices that give you some really cool pictures. They say our Milky Way galaxy looks something like this, and that our sun would be in one of the spiral arms somewhere around here, for example. But that's not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is to show you an old technique used by shortwave radio operators and ham radio operators with older receivers that did not have automatic gain control. So if you were listening to a weak signal on CW particularly, and a strong signal came in, it would do something called blasting, which if you had headphones on, you would fully understand why they call it blasting. It would practically blast your head off. It would be so loud. Well, using two simple silicon semiconductor diodes with a voltage drop of about 0.6 of a volt, one in one direction and one in the other direction, connected in parallel with the audio input here and the audio output there, you can peak the clips of the waveform that comes into the input to plus or minus approximately 0.6 of a volt, like this. So instead of the sine wave that you would originally get, you get a clipped wave. Now it's true that that's not going to sound quite the same as it did before the clipping occurred, but it's going to be a lot easier on your ears than it was before. This will not work with voice signals, this technique, and the impedance of the headset or speaker system that you use has to be just right. You can do a couple of other things here. You can connect diodes in series with each other, like say 3 diodes in series in the same direction here, and 3 diodes in series in the same direction here, and you can get, instead of 0.6 volts peak or positive or negative peak, which would be 1.2 volts peak to peak, you can get 3 times that. And you can, of course, use as many diodes as your mood may wish to provide, and based on the practical constraints of physical reality. You can also, in some cases, use bias voltages on these diodes to adjust the peak levels that you find here. But this is 0.2 of a volt, each one of these divisions, so these diodes are maybe 0.57 volts positive, 0.57 volts peak negative. That's just an old technique. If you have one of these old shortwave radios, or if you built one for yourself that does not have automatic gain control in it, you can prevent your ears from being blasted by using a limiter such as this. There are other purposes, or rather porpoises, for limiters like this too, but that is the most common, probably, at least in the olden days. Back even before my time, before 1966, they had a lot of receivers that they just hadn't invented automatic gain control yet. Now, of course, that's not so much of a problem anymore, but if you decide to switch the AGC automatic gain control off in a receiver, which you can do in some cases, then you may want to consider one of these types of circuits to prevent your ears from being destroyed by strong CW signals. Now, I'm assuming, of course, that you're a CW operator, a dwindling breed of which I remain one sample in that species. Stan Gibilisco, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1, Good Vibrations, signing off. Now, I don't live in this galaxy. I live in a different galaxy with a nebula like the one you saw in the other video, but isn't that a cool piece of wallpaper? I think that's just totally cool. And you can get a whole bunch of them from great images in NASA. I wish I had provided a link to that website in this video, but it's too late now. Stan Gibilisco signing off. Until next time, so long.